Broadcast me a joyful noise unto the times. Lord, count your blessings. The papers wouldn't lie. I sigh, not one more. It's been a bad day. Please don't take my picture. Welcome to Nerds Gone Rogue, episode 112. I am Matthew Keel at Infinite_Rewind on every social media platform you can think of. Moose is with me at Svhenn on every social media platform you can think of. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm doing good.
And we are joined by Antonio Guillen, the maestro of the Switch Talk. How are you, sir?
I am fantastic, Matthew. How are you?
I am well. I had to work 12 hours today, and I'm pushing through. So, for those who might not know, Antonio and I podcasted on the Platinum Achievement podcast for a while, and that sort of finished. We parted ways. We've met once in Chicago, which was a good old time, and we got to try some rare, never to be released beer at Lagunitas, and we've been buddies ever since.
Good times, man. Good times.
And he went from knocking PlayStation, knocking Nintendo, being that tried and true Xbot that he always was, and now he's hosting a Nintendo show. This is Trump's America, ladies and gentlemen. So welcome to Nerds Gone Rogue. Welcome back. It's been a while since you were here. We are always happy to have you. Guest, what are you playing?
Oh, what am I playing? Well, I own very few games on the PlayStation. I was like, what am I gonna do? Spider-Man's coming out. Had to get it. Had to start playing it. It's fantastic. I'm all about that Spider-Man right now. It's just extremely fluid. The combat is just so deep if you want it to be. I feel powerful. I feel like the controls are manageable at the same time. Of course, it's beautiful graphically, and it's just a true achievement. I'm blown away. And, again, hypocrite, you're right. I wanted to beat up on Pony's PlayStation. Again, back on Nintendo when they didn't have the Switch, and I just jump on the bandwagon. They call me Antonio the Bandwagon Diva Guillen. That's my name.
It's Bandwagon Tonio.
Yeah, I mean, other than PlayStation, Into the Breach is my other addiction right now. So good. I waited when it released on PC. It's went on the Switch is like that stealth launch. It's like, hey, we're doing this. Amazing game, and I think you're going to talk about it a little later. But yeah, Into the Breach and Spider-Man, amazing games. That's what I'm playing.
Moose, what are you playing?
A whole hell of a lot of Spider-Man.
You took the day off for it, didn't you?
I did. I took Friday off. I started at midnight. I didn't stay up as late as Jason did. Jason played till I think.
Well, knowing Marshall, he's probably platinumed the game by now.
He did. He's already posted on social media.
He's already platinumed it?
He's already platinumed it. Yeah.
Wow.
He's done. It's not that hard. It's not that hard of a platinum.
Well, there are no difficulty trophies, right?
As far as I know, no. The only one that's kind of difficult is not even a problem is so you get challenge tokens. And so what they say is like, if you want to cheese it even more, instead of having to get all the tokens to unlock everything, you can just buy what you need for a certain trophy using the challenge tokens, reload your save file, and then buy the other thing, to pop each of the separate trophies. So I'm gonna actually try and because I think you need to get
sounds like some Nier Automata shit.
Well, that or Bloodborne for the 3 endings, whatever. But
buying stuff though.
No, not like no, buying stuff with the in-game currency, like the tokens from inside the game, not like real money.
Yeah, I know, but
Okay.
same thing with Nier. You could buy those trophies with in-game currency. Or did you forget about that?
No, I didn't forget about that.
Just making sure.
I'm just saying, like, you need to use the currency to get the items to get the trophies. Is what I'm trying to say. But anyways, so been playing a hell of a lot of that, and that's pretty much it. I tried the Battlefield 5 beta this weekend for like 20 minutes, and then just stopped playing it.
Same. Yeah,
So
same.
I was like, I can't.
I've heard not good things about it.
Well, my problem is that I understand it's their game, but I really think this might be the nail in the coffin until they come out with another modern Battlefield. Because for me, because I don't like the way they screwed up the classes. I like the way the classes were in Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, and then Battlefield 5 came along, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna change the assault class to where they're not quote unquote the medic," because now there's like, it's just really weird. They kind of like, because there was like there's the assault
where they're calling like a warrior a paladin, or they're moving everything around.
It's just
like that,
weird. Yeah. So like now the medic is his own class, and his weapons to me are like shit. Like they're really shitty. And then the assault has a lot of heavy stuff. And then they don't have the engineer anymore, which I love the engineer. And so it's almost like the assault, like they split out the medic, like the healing, just to be a medic, and then the assault and the engineer just became like one class. And I don't like that. I like the engineer. It's probably also mainly because the engineer was a lot of like stingers. They were the only ones that could use stingers and rocket launchers and stuff like that in Battlefield 3. Later in 4, some other people were able to use it was Hardline. Sorry, it was Battlefield Hardline that anyone could go and pick up a rocket launcher and use it. So anyways, it was like at that point they were getting away from the engineer class. And so I feel like in World War II, there weren't a lot of Stinger missiles. So I can understand how they decided to separate the classes, but I'd love to see a return to the classic classes of 3 and 4 in a modern shooter. So I'll probably wait on 5. I'll probably wait on reviews and wait for a holiday sale or something. But I enjoy what I played. I had fun I played medic class and support class, and like I played like a round or two, and then that was it. I went right back to Spider-Man. But that's been about it. Spider-Man's been it.
Now, do you think they're switching around the classes to create more of a team dynamic, or
there was already a team dynamic?
No, but I'm just saying, like, because it seems like if you make the medic, weak weapons but probably good healing, he probably has to stay near an assault class, or what was the other one? Support.
Yeah, well, the support carries the bullets.
Right.
The assault, I guess. Well, they already had that going with the assault class, which they had like the grenade launchers on their weapons. They had the M90s or whatever, little portable grenade launchers. But they were the guys that had the healing packs, and then you could work with the support guys. So you'd heal the support, and the support would give you your bullets. And then the engineer would be like, "Oh, hey, we got a tank, or we got, aerial coming in. I'll help take them down." And then you had your snipers spotting people as you were moving down the battlefield. So it already had a really good team dynamic. I feel that they just changed that dynamic for the time. Because like I was saying, like engineer, there were some of that stuff back then, but it was like really early on. Like it was like, almost like rocks,
Well, instead of like the rocket launcher, the engineer is carrying around that mortar.
Yeah, right, exactly. So I think they did. I think for what the game is, it's cool that they did it. But I'd like, if they come back to like modern times, I'd love to see them bring back the regular classes, the traditional classes.
Did you play Battlefield 1?
Yes, I did, and
played it to completion, right, for your challenge.
I did. I beat the game. Didn't platinum it. I didn't take the time to platinum it, which I probably could next year. But I didn't like that one. So I'll have to say 4 is my favorite, even though how glitchy of a launch it had. I loved 3, played 3, and that's what made me buy 4. I bought 4 twice because I bought it on my 360, and then when I bought a PS4, I bought it again because it was on sale, and I heard that they did a better job of fixing the PS4 or the current gen consoles instead of last gens. And so I bought it again, and there were no issues. I had no issues playing it, and I loved it. And then when I bought Battlefield 1, I always, when I played the Battlefield games, I never had an issue getting the pendulum to swing the other way. Like, I could start a match and be away from playing it for like 3 months, and then maybe 3 or, I'll be like, all right, I'm playing Battlefield tonight, and like 2 or 3 matches in, I can get more wins than I have, or kills than I have deaths. But with Battlefield 1, I never felt I could do that. I always felt, I also feel like it kind of was like the packs that you could buy and stuff. Like, I felt that kind of cheapened it because like I was always getting killed by guys who were able to unlock stuff, and it's just like I'll never be able. Like, I've seen where I got what I got to do to get that weapon, and I don't play nearly enough to get that weapon, and so I just feel like it was cheap. It kind of cheapened the experience for me, and I didn't like it at all. And I felt like there was more lag to the game. Because, like, even me, Captain Canada, Matt Phillips, and our friend Dominic, we would play together and would be like, do you not feel like you should be winning some of these battles and we're losing them? And they're like, yeah. Like, they were even noticing it. Like, when I asked them, they noticed it. And it was just, I don't know, it was a weird experience. So I had a hard time sticking with the game. Like, I would pick it up every once in a while to play with them. But, yeah.
Battlefield 4 was excellent. I think as soon as they made the decision to, with the time, jump back, go to World War I, World War II even, Battlefield 1 I liked. I liked the visuals. I liked the slow, methodical, like, gameplay. It slowed things down completely. But in the time jump, the unlock system, like you mentioned, is completely broken because there's less that you can do and customize the weapons for. So they slowly unlock, like, maybe there's a dozen things you can put on this one gun, and that's like it. Battlefield 4, it's all modern, so it's like you want this scope, you want that, this stock. So they try to like toe the line there. I did like 1 though, and I played the medic class, and I think you're exactly right. I played the 5 beta. Everything's all messed up. I read a Kotaku opinion breakdown of the beta, and there's like severely limited ammo. So like Matt was saying, like, they are forcing you into this squad dynamic. But if you jumped into Battlefield 4 and you wanted a solo, like you didn't have a crew, you were out there and you were like, doing some teamwork, but you could survive and kill alone. Which
or you
is
can
a
even
must.
jump into an existing squad. And
and you
like I feel like you don't need to communicate in Battlefield 1.
Yeah,
like you find somebody, if you spawn on somebody, and it's like, oh, he's playing the support class, awesome, because I usually roll as assault or support. And I'd be like, okay, well, I'm the assault class, so I'll just heal us. Like, I'll stay behind you, and if he falls to someone shooting him, I kill that person, and then I revive him and heal him, and we move along. And there's that cohesion there where you don't have to worry about mic talking to the guy. You don't need a mic to discuss your tactics and stuff. So.
In 1, I did feel like people around me were doing their jobs, and all that, and gelling. And there's always going to be those people who aren't playing the game as intended or whatever you have. But in 1, I felt like we were all, I agree with you that it's being forced in a way that doesn't feel good. It still looks great, and I like the pace of the combat. But you're right, the weapons, it's just not feeling good. Things may change. I don't know. I have high hopes. I'm not playing Call of Duty. You can kill me before I play Call of Duty.
I'm not going to play Call of Duty either. I think what I'm going to do is just wait for Division 2 and play that in March. Because like, I don't know, it might take a steep sale or like some crazy good reviews for me to pick up Battlefield 5, but
it could change. Like, they could totally, they have the resources, tweak some things. Again, I need a shooter. What am I gonna do? Give me my shooter. I'm glad you mentioned the Division. I mean, I gotta get off.
Wait for that. I mean, we were talking about NGR, the hosts, we were talking about doing Borderlands, like a playthrough of the 3 of us playing Borderlands, and if we do that, there's my shooter. But because I'm doing the challenge, I don't get like I have Doom right now. I have to beat Doom because I haven't beaten that yet. But I have some shooters on my list that I could play, or I have some that I can go back to and enjoy playing, like Borderlands. But I agree with you. Like I don't like none of the shooters that are coming out this fall are really speaking to me. I don't even want to touch Black Ops 4. I like 5 is really not resonating with me. So I'm like, okay, you know what? That's fine. Like more for my challenge games, more for like my Nintendo stuff.
Play some adventure games, man. There's some good ones.
Yeah. I definitely want to do that. And the only other game that I know that's coming out this fall that could be considered a shooter that I want to play is Red Dead Redemption 2, even though that's more like third person.
My butt started to twitch when you said that. I'm excited.
Yeah.
My left cheek was just like,
yeah. It's it's gonna be some good stuff. Anyways, lots of Spider-Man in the last Friday, Saturday, Sunday, last 4 days. Lots of Spider-Man. I'm 50% through. So I know Jeff will be the next one of the NGP crew to platinum it, and then I'll probably be last. But I'm fine with that because I'm enjoying it.
So
I'm taking my time with the story.
So let's get into it. Let's just have this chat now.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts on Spider-Man?
Game of the year.
I haven't played God of War yet.
Okay.
It's definitely a contender. It'll win some Game of the Year awards. If you like action adventure games, the combat is okay. So it dethrones by far the Arkham game combat in my book. It just feels more it feels and looks faster and better than Batman ever could. Even at his most cinematic, nothing compares to what's going on. And I haven't even unlocked a lot of the stuff that you can do. Mix in the gadgets. I usually would be thrown off by the control scheme and say, oh, I have too much on my plate. I have too many options. But something about the layout of circle, square, triangle, like is all making sense. Like, whereas in the Batman games, it's like, what do I hit for this again? And the timing was a little too aggressive. So I'm playing on normal difficulty, not easy, not hard. So I just feel like there's a lot of depth there. And I don't know how they've made the game, like actually programmed the game, built out the game with the swinging. It's too beautiful. It's like butter slipping down the backside of a grown man. You know what I mean?
And making that left cheek twinge.
Now he's getting the right one to twinge. I think I'll agree with you. I think the combat. I've only played Arkham Knight, so I can't speak to.
I played Arkham Asylum and
So I can't speak to those two. But if Arkham Knight was the most polished of the combat systems, I do feel it is better than the Arkham Knight series. I feel there's more ways to get around the enemies than you'll come into a certain enemy and with Batman, it's like, you have to do this and this is all you could do. And you're like, but I know this gadget I have over here would clean the floor with this guy, but because it's this guy and this enemy, you're forcing me to use this one option. And it's like, that's total bullshit. But with Spider-Man, you'll get guys that have weapons that they block all your attacks. And so you basically have to web them up or knock them down. And then there's guys with shields. There's guys with rocket launchers and guns. My only, I agree with you. It is fast. I love that. I love how fast it is. I'm getting better at the game. As I'm playing it, the combat, I'm figuring out what works for me and whatnot. But my only complaint is sometimes when I'm playing and I'll have 3 guys, I'll have 2 guys that I'm near that I'm attacking and beating up, and then I'll have 2 guys away from me. And when I jump up and I'm trying to web lock the guy with the gun because he's about to shoot me, it picks the guy that's running towards me. It picks the closest target instead of the one that's gonna the ranged one.
It doesn't pick the threat. It picks
it does pick the immediate threat because the guy's closer. It doesn't pick the one that's actually going to do the fastest damage to you. That's my problem. And so I found my ways around that. Like, I'll know as soon as I see that red line coming, I just jump. Like, I just start jumping. I dodge and I just start jumping to get out of the way, and I don't even try. And then I find where that guy is, loop back around, and then I shoot my webs at him, and then go at him and not kill him, either knock him up against the wall or knock him out, and then get back to the rest of the team, or the rest of the bad guys. But I found and that's what I think is cool about the combat is you can find your strengths in using the combat to work around like the stuff that gives you the most trouble. So, as in talking with Justin Doss, our boy who was always hanging out with some parties, he was not liking the combat at first, and now like after a couple days of playing, it's starting to click with him and come around with him. So I was happy for him because I knew if he wasn't going to like that combat, the game wasn't going to be good for him. But Matt, what do you think about it? How much have you played?
I've played. I'd say like last night I played the first 5 or 6 missions.
Okay.
How many bosses have you defeated?
At that point,
I think
there would usually be like some quick time.
Okay, so like I think I've probably only defeated 2 guys.
Yeah, I'm the same. There's a lot to do in between
the opener and then the guy after him. Mm-hmm. And then I was saying like I've got to these objectives and done. Yes. Yes, exactly him. And my butt cheeks were twinging. I am not enamored with this game.
You're not liking it?
Now,
that's
not to say that I think the game is bad. I think I haven't had enough time with it. But I will say
missions.
I will say that the swinging around it and the combat are fantastic. I think the rest of it is not.
What suit you wearing?
It's just the one you get. I haven't done any other suits. Like I did a little bit of the stuff in Octavius's lab.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's where you unlock the suits, and you should get the pre-order ones.
I actually pushed my way past all that.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I knew that like I had to get to bed. I had to work 12 hours today, so I'm like I'm gonna push past all this and just see what more I can see before I go to bed tonight. And like this is not my final thought on the game, of course, but I think that like if we were to do Nerds Gone Rogue's awards tomorrow, like combat and movement would definitely be Spider-Man this year. And that's just barely edging out God of War. And that's because I think God of War is a better game. I'll probably learn more, and that could change the more I play of Spider-Man. I'm not done with it by any stretch. I'm not sitting here going, I'm going to walk away from this, because I'm not. But it has not grabbed me the way I wanted it to, and that has me sad because it's an Insomniac game, and I love Insomniac stuff. Like they're fantastic at what they do. And it definitely feels like the developers of Ratchet and Clank, had some hands in writing this. And it definitely feels like they had some hands in designing the gameplay, because it is definitely an evolution of those games. Now, that's not to tell you that the movement and gameplay is anywhere close to Spider-Man, but you can find some analogs and some connections. But it hasn't grabbed me the way I want it to, or the way I expected it to. So, and that could also be because I've just been overwhelmed by the amount of quote unquote Matt games that have come out over the past month.
There are a lot. And
I mean,
think
well, you when we saw that Chris got the platinum in Guacamelee 2, you're like, "Hey Matt, you slacking?" I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, dude.
And he's like, Matt's like, I've got more platinums than you. I was like, that's not what I was saying.
I was just like, what the fuck?
I'm like, where you at on? I'm like, have you even played Guacamelee 2? You know?
Have you played Guacamelee 2? No, you haven't. You've been playing Dead Cells.
No, I haven't.
That Dead Cells. So
Guacamelee was awesome
because I haven't paid for it, so that's why I'm waiting on it.
I feel bad for that game because I felt like it came and it didn't have a splash. It's excellent for everyone who's played it, but I just feel like it didn't get its time to shine, which is weird because Guacamelee 1, anyone who played that liked it. I think 2 was hotly anticipated. I didn't see any buzz at all. I mean, maybe that's just me.
Well, I've seen the buzz, but I think the craze
the Metroidvania
revolving around Dead Cells.
Oh,
that is what
Dead Cells soaked it
Dead
all
Cells
up.
just came in and like a vacuum, like a black hole, sucked up all the buzz for any game.
Like Chasm, Death's Gambit, Dead Cells, Guacamelee 2.
Yeah.
And is there another one that came out?
A lot of stuff hit.
Messenger just came out recently.
But like Metroidvania though, specifically.
I could have swore that was a Metroidvania, but I might.
Is it? I don't know.
I don't know. I said I might be wrong.
That's been a regret of mine because I kept forgetting to snag that. But see, my point here is Dead Cells took all of those games lunch.
Yeah.
Because right before that, Salt and Sanctuary came out on Switch.
That's the other thing.
Sanctuary, yeah.
Like,
well, I think, like you said, with Spider-Man, if you take it, like coming up to Spider-Man's release, I mean, I've been playing a crap ton of Dead Cells. I just finished Battlefield 1. I could have swore I beat another game in between now and then. But anyways, my whole thing was like, all right, I'm getting ready for Spider-Man. So I was pumped for Spider-Man. I was ready, reviews were, coming in, trickling in. I was watching some let's plays and whatnot and was ready for it. I mean, I don't feel you were as pumped for it as I was or Jason.
I was for a while, but like as the release date got closer, I was like, man, I don't want this to come out because I've got all this other stuff.
Yeah. The pacing on Spider-Man with all the other things they put in there, like when I started playing, I wasn't impressed. And then the second hour, I was like, oh man, this is really great. And by the third, fourth hour, I was getting those like story beats that were really good. The voice acting's decent. The character models are also, good looking. Just like the city is amazing. Time of day is changing. You start unlocking suits.
Yeah.
But everything is wanting to get back to the combat because it's like the best part. The mini games and the like stealth things, even though I think the stealth again is also better than the Arkham series. I just feel like the controls, I could understand more how to, L2, R2 to like zip to other places. And then it was pretty simple with the attacks, the indicators. And none of that is, it's skippable. So all the mini game stuff in the lab, it's like, do you want to skip? Sure. And then, you just like pass it up. But I think that the Insomniac knew, it gave me vibes from PS2 Spider-Man. It's like, yeah, there's this, which is the combat, but we're also going to throw other little things at you that are going to be tolerable. And again, they were smart enough to put the skip function in there, but we're not going to make you do it either. So it's just like, none of that is excellent, which is why I guess, like Matt saying, you can't say that the whole game is like mind blowing because those parts do bring it down. I mean, there are slow bits. There's a little bit of a pacing issue. So there's a lot there that's not revolutionary. And I think that would have brought it to the next level. What are you going to do? It's like,
there are a couple of things in Octavius's lab that are basically, it's not a bad thing to do, but those where you're trying to fix the arm in Octavius's lab, like that's, it's ripping off 2007 BioShock hacking. Like, and I don't think that was bad. I don't think that is as bad as some people thought it was, because some people fucking hated that. But I feel like this is an all right, easy version of that.
People don't realize that if you're an action junkie and you're like, oh, I don't like this, I just want the action, what the game would be if they did completely take that out. You can't go 100 miles an hour constantly. You just
you get exhausted.
You have to change it up somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no discovery adventure thing like there is in a Horizon. Because again, like Horizon Zero Dawn is another game where it's like, oh man, this is I like the world, I like how it looks, I like the enemies, the combat's great, and you're kind of also seeing what's around the bend. There's some exploration to it there. With Spider-Man, it's like you're seeing the city from different angles, and it's great, but it's not anything new. Like you're not going to come up on something like crazy. The story beats the next major chunk of what's going to advance it. Looks like that's what people want to get to faster, but then it ends up being a short game. They call it 20 hours with all the content. I bet that's what doing at least some of the side mission stuff without completely skipping all of it.
Yeah.
And you know, the MJ stuff, spoiler alert, again, this is like a dip we're seeing here.
I don't think like the pacing is an issue with Spider-Man. Because like
you can tolerate it, then other people can't. They're just like, this sucks.
Well, I don't know. Well, that's probably because they want to keep just powering through the story. Like as I'm playing it, I'll be like, I'll play it. You do a mission, and so like the night-day cycle. We were talking about this. The night-day cycle is not like a true night-day cycle. Like it's actually following the story, the days of the story. Yep. So you can mess around and do all kinds of missions, but it doesn't fall in the reality of the time that you're in to the story. So like you could do like, 20 hours worth of side missions, but like maybe an hour passes in the game, because they're still keeping you at night because that's where you're at the story. But I feel like they do a good job with the pacing because you're like, okay, story. Okay, then I do this big like fight scene with a boss. Then I go back and talk to somebody, and then it's like, oh, we'll explore the town and, do some stuff to get some upgrades for your suits and whatnot. Okay, well, you know what? Now it's the time for me to just like zip around the city and enjoy zipping around the city and find some like you said, like combat, get into the combat and, mess around with finding some of the collectibles. Like I'm doing as many of the collectibles as I can in each district before I move the story. And now I'm like, well, you know what? I'm actually wanting to move the story. So the pendulum swung the other way. Now I'm doing more missions than I am doing collectibles and side mission stuff. So
yeah, I love it.
I think
I'm on board
with the pacing. I can see some problems with it, but I don't have a problem with the pacing because
I don't mind the mini games. I don't mind any of it. I'm on your side. Yeah, I mean, it's just
I can see how people do have problems with it, but I feel like arguing that the pacing, people are like, oh, pacing is horrible. I got to deal with MJ, and it's like, well, no, it's because they're trying to tell you a story too. So like if I understand that you just want to get through the game.
I feel like those are the people who actually don't. They actually say they like story, but actually don't want it.
Right, exactly.
Story gets in their way.
I love the story of the game, but it's like then like as soon as they hit like the story mission, it's or like a story section, like
those are the people that skip every.
I just want to swing through the city. I just want to swing through the city, man. It's like, well, no, you don't like story.
Beating up people, man.
Like don't go and do it. And see, the great thing about it is if you don't want to do the story mission and you just want to swing around like an idiot, go and swing around like an idiot. You don't go to the yellow diamond that's telling you where the next story mission is. You just go swing around.
I like MJ, by the way.
I mean,
I like her too. Yeah.
The couple of side things that like I did go after a couple of the backpacks just to see what that was like, and that's actually kind of fun.
It is fun.
It's kind of
Easter eggs and gems.
It's kind of fun to go after that stuff. Also, the crimes that happen around the city, they're varied enough that it's interesting. Like, sure, you get to, a bunch of people trying to break into a building, and he's like, I don't think they lost their key. I'm like, yeah, Peter Parker, that's a dumb goddamn joke.
Some of his jokes are bad, but some.
A lot of it is. It's like it's comically terrible.
It's Spider-Man humor, man. That's what.
Right, but it's Spider-Man really talking to himself, so he's not even.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm on board with that. I'm not going to sit here and say that is a problem.
Yeah. Right.
So, although sometimes it is intolerable, but I do like there's one that I had to do a car chase. and the way that they handled that with Spider-Man was a good old time.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite parts so far.
Like just having to seeing cops go under you chase this car, and they're like, "Oh, car chase in pursuit," and then I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna go after that car."
Fantastic,
and it was really fun.
Along with a speeding car, for something about it.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, "All right."
You made my left butt cheek.
Yeah, well, that one got the right involved for me.
Oh,
I'm like, man, just stereo jiggling back here.
Or like you haven't. I've gotten to the point where like I'll be swinging through the city and I'll come up on top of a building, and if I hang up too long, all of a sudden a rocket comes flying at me, and then like I turn and look, and I'm like, oh hey, there's a crap of guys on the building, and then you hit the touchpad to get to the map, and there's a exclamation point, a red exclamation point and a triangle saying like, oh hey, it's these guys over here, you gotta go get them. And so it's like, oh, okay, that's why I'm taking a rocket to the face as soon as I come swinging up over a building.
So that's why my butt cheeks are jiggling. Someone shot a rocket in there.
Yeah.
So you guys are digging Spider-Man?
Digging it.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick with it. And then I'll probably have more thoughts as we keep doing shows. Other games I played this week, I got absolutely pissed off at conjunctivitis in Dead Cells. I almost took my Switch over my knee and just shattered it. I was so pissed off at that goddamn boss. But then today I beat it.
Nice, congratulations!
I got my spider rune on Switch. I feel nice. Yeah, thank you. And now I'm actually I want to see how to get to the end. And the minute I tried that, I'm like, oh wait a minute, I've not been able to get that gardener's key nonsense. So I'll do that. So I kept on getting distracted on the way to that.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up getting as far as the clock tower, and I died in short order. But yeah, so now I'm back in love with Dead Cells. When I was pissed off at Dead Cells, I actually said, all right, I'm putting this away for a couple of days and playing Into the Breach. And Into the Breach, that game is way more fun than it has any right to be. I should, by all intents and purposes, hate that game. But why? But I am so in love with it. I think, actually because of over the past like year and change, I've gotten like super into board games. Mm-hmm. I think doing that has sort of brought a different approach to strategy games. Just from my point of view, so I've looked at them differently. And Into the Breach is a really it is a solid strategy game. Mm-hmm. Each little board is like a quick chess match, and it's really fun. It's I like how you could just put it down, have a think. Each little area you have one reset you can do, and you have to use all that wisely, and then trying to balance going after which objective and keeping whatever you need to alive, as well as getting to the pods to unlock new stuff, and even getting achievements, which helps you unlock new mechs. That game is seriously. It might actually be the best design game this year. It won't be my game of the year, just because it hasn't done what Dead Cells did to me. But it is. That is a good goddamn game, and if you are not playing it, you should. I also took some time to play more Fire Pro Wrestling World. This game has done some weird things to me in the few weeks it's been out. I have found myself just deep diving into the world of wrestling in a way that I have not done since I was 14. And I mean, it kind of sucks because I don't know any wrestlers that are around now. I mean, it's weird that like Undertaker is still wrestling. It's weird that Shawn Michaels is still wrestling. It's weird that Ric Flair is still around. Like, I mean, it's weird that a lot of those people that were just top of the pyramid. It's weird that they're still around. But at the same time, it's like I'm kind of glad because that sort of gives me an entryway back in. But I'm not gonna. As much as I talk about this, I'm probably not gonna start watching wrestling again unless I happen to know somebody who's watching a Royal Rumble, because that's really the only thing I would want to watch. But Fire Pro Wrestling is a fun game.
I hear good things.
If you sit down to play it, it's not like it doesn't teach you everything right away. In fact, there's a lot of it deliberately leaves out. And the way you can learn it is actually really interesting. The fighting road mode actually teaches you about the flow of matches. And then there's mission mode, which has, the first 6 missions in that are tutorial. And it teaches you all of the basic stuff. And going through and doing the objectives in a mission is actually really, it has made me think about the game differently. But I've not played anybody online yet. I've actually started downloading wrestlers. And a lot of those are really cool. Like they have some really spot on ones. Like I got a Bret Hart one that looks just great. But that game will probably be on my 10 for the year for sure. Another game that will probably show up on my 10 is a game I platinum this week, Donut County.
Oh, cool.
Donut County might have the best soundtrack of the year, like by some distance. It's on Spotify. You should check it out. It's a really good soundtrack. It's a very quick game. It's like maybe a couple hours. It's a super quick platinum if you want a palate cleanser, Moose.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And the dialogue in it is actually really good. It's actually surprising. It's surprisingly funny, and there's a lot of puzzle stuff that is surprisingly intuitive, without really telling you much. Like I found myself just popping trophy after trophy after trophy just by trying stuff. And usually that doesn't happen. Or at least in most good games, that doesn't happen. You don't just get trophies by trying stuff because they have choreographed those experiences to what they want us trophy monkeys, what hoops they want us trophy monkeys to jump through. And Donut County is a really, really solid game.
Okay,
let's
cool.
see. What else did I play?
You're playing a lot of games. I like that. That's good for your health.
Oh yeah, I try. I mean, I'm playing a lot more games now than I really ever have prior. Usually, I would focus on one for a very long time and then move on. But now I've actually since I've kind of left. I don't want to say I've left trophy hunting, but I'm not doing it as like a primary objective. I tend to just say, which plates do I want to keep spinning? And then I keep those spinning, whereas the rest of them I just let drop and break. But yeah, no, I played some this week and made some progress. I was really happy to beat Conjunctivitis and Dead Cells, because it had gotten to a point where I was just like, I need to put this game down. Otherwise,
What'd you beat them with? Did you have turrets? What'd you take in there?
I did. Well, I'm a tactics guy anyway.
Oh, I love tactics in that game.
Like I rolled in with. I happened to come across a legendary bow.
Oh, I knew it. Yeah,
that froze. And
Okay, the frostbow. Okay.
I recently unlocked a blueprint called the Frantic Blade.
Nice.
Which is half tactics, half brutality. But since I'm always tactics, it's always purple. And then I rolled in with a couple of turrets, and I've figured out that if you always upgrade to the plus modifiers, especially once you get to like level 3 and 4, just because you'll have 2 modifiers instead of 1. And the modifiers I keep on my turrets, I definitely keep pierce through the first target. Always keep that. And if you're lucky enough to get pierced through all targets, oh, that's a good day. Because then everything just sort of falls. On my bow turret, I had shots leave a trail of flames.
Nice, light them on fire.
And his tentacles that come out of the ground. I was just like, "What tentacles, bitch? You're going down." Yeah. And then on the other one, I had the sinew slicer. It starts bleeding, and then I also had with bleeding comes poison.
Oh, nice.
Whoa.
and shots pierce through the first target. So what I actually did was when it was tentacle time, I just lit the tentacles up, froze them with my bow, and if they got close, I hit them with my knife, and they just knife through butter. That's what I did to them. But I'm usually like, if I get into a hairy situation, I'm usually both triggers right off the bat to drop both turrets. With this one, I hung out on the center platform and put one on one side and one on the other, so it would just And so every time he was moving around, he would move towards one side and it would take care of him. And then if he moved to the other one would work. And I would just pepper him with freezing. I figured out the best way to deal with him is definitely status effects. He's not like the concierge where he starts to develop an immunity, which is
weird for me. Like, I found his immunities to be like inconsistent. So like the second time I fought him, so I lost to him the first time. He had like the most smallest amount of health left, and he hit.
Is this the concierge or conjunctivitis?
The conjunctivitis, and
I got him there like 5 times in a row, and
he got me with his poison, and so then I went in, and I think my problem was I only had the double bowmatic and the wolf traps. Now the wolf traps are awesome because it'll actually, like, with the concierge, even when he jumps, if he jumps over a trap, he gets caught in the trap. So you can totally negate his jumping with the wolf traps. And so you don't, because like if you get stuck against the wall with him jumping at you, he drops your health like insanely fast, because he'll just bounce you off that wall and you got to try and jump and get out of there. So it's good to have the wolf traps with him. But I had the wolf traps the first time with the conjunctivitis, and small amount of health, died. I went in with the sinew slicers like you did and lit his ass up. I find that it's not him that's the hardest thing in his fight. It's the tentacle part. Or maybe not the hardest, but the most troublesome.
The tentacles, I take
the most troublesome
more life to the tentacles than...
Yes, that's what I was just going to say. I lose more life to the tentacles than I do to actually him. And so I was saying the second time I fought him, I was frost blasting him. And then the third time, then you get to a certain point where you got to go that same route, because I already got the rune and I'm like, I want to go that same route again. And I fought him a third time and was using the frost blast. The second time, no resistance at all. Third time, he was getting resistance like every other hit. And I'm like, this is really weird. Like, that's inconsistent. Like, you would think, it wouldn't be like, so heavy handed one way or the other. It would be like he would get resistance across the board every so often, but whatever. I just found it a little inconsistent for me.
I think the one lesson I learned relatively quickly, and this is like, the couple of times I lost to the concierge, I learned that you have to commit to an upgrade path. Like, you can't, it's nice to try and bring everything up, but like if you're trying to bring up everything, you're going to be so underpowered by the time you get to a boss. Like I think the first time I beat the concierge, I had...
Are you talking about the scrolls?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just so the listeners are clear. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Like I think the only reason I had 2 brutality was because I had a choice between brutality and survivability, and I chose brutality because the one thing that I believe to be true in roguelikes is damage trumps life.
Really?
Yeah. Because here's the thing, roguelikes are designed for you to die. No matter what you do, you are going to die.
So you just have to out damage.
If you finish the game, it's over and you start over, so you still technically died. Mm-hmm. Like death is inevitable. So if you walk in and you have a bigger gun than your enemy, you win. Like,
that's interesting. I'm gonna go in again, with that advice in mind. I think I've gotten only to the first 4 stages, which is like the first 3 bosses, or so how it's split up. The greatest strength of Dead Cells is obviously how they were able to put enough in to keep it fresh, to keep you coming back. And again, I'm not typical roguelike. I don't like them necessarily, but because of the upgrade path and the things that you're unlocking, especially when you have the multiple paths if you're going from like the sewers and it's like a level 1, but that splits, and then you get to the other level 2 instead of the branching paths. I think that was a strength. I don't know if it later on in the game it does it again, but I would definitely like to have more variations, especially in the earlier levels, because that's where you're going to play the most. I'd like it to have even more, but that was really good. That's something that kept me going longer than I normally would. The thing that I get thrown off and killed too often from is just too much frantic things happening on screen. Coupled with, I think I have to play with the Pro Controller with it docked eventually. There's too much going on. My hands start to hurt when I'm trying to get, these boss fights done. And I know what I have to do, but I just feel like my hands aren't working correctly. I think I need a better grip on the controls, but I'm definitely going to jump back in. It came out right around other games, so I'm sure you guys are like way past. So how many bosses are you talking about? How many bosses?
Conjunctivitis is like the second boss.
Okay. So it takes something to get there.
Yeah. I've gotten to the 3rd, which from my understanding is the second to the last boss.
Yeah, there's only 4 bosses in
There's only 4 bosses in the game.
Do you feel a little burned out on level 1, the first 2 levels? Because here's
my advice to people that are playing the game, and especially if you're trying to make runs at the bosses, it's more detrimental to you to try and do a quick run to get to the next stage instead of exploring everything, because you'll have a greater chance of picking up a turret or picking up something that it works a lot better for you. And I also found, like, I bought up front the random melee weapon and random ranged weapon, those perks right off the bat, so that I could try and be like, okay, I'm really good with the ice blast and then a good heavy weapon or whatever. And my personal favorite melee weapon is the Impaler. The Impaler is awesome, and it's not because I rarely even do the critical hit damage, which is if they're up against the wall, you do critical hit damage, which is I think like 3 times your regular damage. I like it because of the stunning it does to enemies. So it does a good job of slowing them down just enough to where, like, if there's a lot of them, you can slow them down to where either they die or the turrets are going to do your DPS for you, or you can at least get an ice blast off and freeze them and then kill them that way. But love the reach. The reach on the Impaler is awesome.
Yeah, the reach is really nice.
I find that like I'll sit there and I'll be like, no, I don't like the combo of the melee and the ranged weapons, so I'll restart. Like, I'll just refresh the beginning stage, because I'll be like, I'm going for the boss. I want to have the best starting weapons that I can get, and then make my way through the stage. And then I'll try and find everything before I pick which door I'm going to go through. And then I pick that door and find everything in that stage, move along. Because I feel like if you try and rush yourself, because the timed doors, all they unlock is more cells for you in a chamber. They might give you some gold, and they might give you a scroll.
I found some good scrolls initially on those fast runs. So you're saying really not worth it, because once I figured it out, that's
you'll still find them. But if you're moving through the time doors, like, you're gonna find more. You're gonna find actually more weapons as you search the level, because also as you get the other runes, like there's the rune that grows the vine. Well, now if you go back to the beginning stage and use the rune that grows the vine, there's a weapon up there. And you know what I mean, that you wouldn't have been able to pick up before. And even if you don't use it, it's still a weapon that like you could cash in if you have the recycling perk, and so you get money that you can take with you into the next fight. And so it's just, in my personal opinion, it's best if you're trying to make a run at the boss. It's in your best interest to try and explore as much as you can to get the best weapons that you can to take a stab at them. But,
and it's never bad going through the levels again and searching. It's just not as fresh as I'd like it to be. But you know, what are you gonna do? I mean, I really have, unless you had a variation in enemies, which might have been better. So maybe it's like, you know, there's the typical 5 enemies. Maybe if they had 15 and they like rotated the like fifth, that'd be crazy. I mean,
honestly, like, Antonio, have you been? So you've been to the promenade.
I've been.
Have you been to the ramparts?
I'm gonna wiki it really quick.
Okay.
You just Polygon did an article of the biomes. Just look up Dead Cells biomes.
All right, here we go. So,
prisoners, the prisoners.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. And there's multiple paths that you can take depending on your runes.
Prisoners, promenade, toxic sewers. So yeah, I've been there. Ramparts, ancient sewers, prison depths, Black Bridge, insufferable crypt. I have not been past. I have not reached the Stilt Village.
Okay, the Stilt Village. So the Stilt Village is right after the concierge, who's on the Black Bridge.
Yeah.
Now, basically, the one piece of advice I will give anybody who doesn't play roguelikes, when they're playing a roguelike for the first time, is it's 2 parts. First, you're gonna die, plain and simple. You are going to die. Secondly, slow and steady is better than a rush. And see, now Dead Cells fucks with roguelike players in the way because it has those time doors. It wants you to get through that first stage in 2 minutes, but the reward really isn't there. Like if you explore the prisoners, the first stage in its entirety, like I've gotten to the point where I can do it in 3 minutes. I mean, I've tried to zip around it quicker. I haven't found a way to get any quicker than 3 minutes. By the time I get there, I have I've found at least 3 upgrade scrolls, 10 cells, and a lot of gold. I found as many cells that will be in that first time door, 3 times as many scrolls. And I mean, it varies on gold because of RNGesus, but like the risk and the reward don't match up.
Yeah.
Now, I actually watched, I was watching a guy on YouTube the other day who basically he said he was going to do one weapon through his entire run and get it up as high as he could and beat the game with it, which he did. And that was a cool thing to watch in a half hour. But he didn't take any of the starting weapons. He ran through the entire first level, getting all the scrolls. He got to the he took the sewers. He took the sewers, got to that door, got all that, ran through the sewers, still not picking a weapon. And he got all the scrolls there. And he got to the next timed level. I think it was the ossuary he went to after that. Or no, you can't do the ossuary there. It's the ancient sewers. So he got there, got to that time door, and then he found a shop and he had the restock perk. So he used that until he got the weapon he wanted, which I think was the crow's wings, which I've not seen yet. And then he basically used tactics, because I think it's a tactics weapon, to get that as high as he could. And then he just walked through the rest of the game with it. So think about that. Like, there are ways you can circumvent everything you perceive. And this happens a lot in roguelikes. Like Binding of Isaac is a classic example. If you get a certain weapon at the beginning, that might not be the way you're going to play the rest of the game, because you may find something else along the way. But always, when you're new to it, definitely take your time. Definitely, Don't worry about, well, I've been in this world for too long, I need to get to the next one. Since this is a Metroidvania roguelike, treat it like a Metroidvania. Fill out that map.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the worst thing that'll happen is you'll meet an elite unexpectedly, and it may put you in the grave. But
I really like the way elites change things up, keep you on your toes.
Oh man,
I want to challenge them, and I think it's like a manageable boss fight. You know what I mean? It's like I don't know, the franticness of it is fun. I'm never again, and it's made for that pick up and play. You can't really you could, but I think it's meant to leave and come back to, and know that, hey, I got 15 minutes, I'm going to do a run on my commute or whatever you're going to do. And like before bed or whatever it's going to be, it's just a really good game. And if Guacamelee 2 came out, on the Switch, we'd be playing Guacamelee as well, trying to juggle it with Dead Cells. But what are you going to do?
Well, the only reason I haven't played Guacamelee 2, real talk, it's because my partner wants to play it too. So when she and I have time to do that, we will do it. I mean, she played a little bit of the first one with me, and she's like, "This is actually really fun." I'm like, "I know, right?" So yeah, so I will definitely play and probably platinum Guacamelee 2 at some point.
It'll probably come out on Switch.
Oh, it will. It definitely will.
Severed came over. Did the first one come over to Switch yet, or was it just
no? It's just Severed on Switch right now.
Well, then they'll probably do a double pack when they release it. That's why they
Guacamelee 1 and 2 will probably come into Switch.
They'll probably do like you can get for $60 you get both games.
Yeah, they'll probably do a Guacamelee 2 Super Turbo Championship Edition.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's what they did. That's what they did for 1 on Wii U. Like that's the only reason that thing came out.
Yeah.
Stuff. So we've been going a while. I think it's late enough. We can all hit the sack.
Time.
So so Antonio,
thank you very much for having me.
Please
Can't
come.
even believe it.
Please come back. Please come back quicker.
My butt's switching.
That's great. I'm glad we got that butt twitching. One last time, where we find you, sir.
If you please go to the nintendovillage.com or Switch Talk, search either of them and you'll find everything. So it's at Switch Talk 30. My personal Twitter is at Hypecaster, just how it sounds. And no
more Blue Blood? What happened to the Blue Blood?
To switch over for branding purposes. I'm trying to dodge my taxes on my other account. So
I mean, that's fair.
Got to do what you got to do.
Oh wait,
thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah.
Moose, where do we find you?
You can find me at Svhenn on any social media platform that I want to be on. You could also listen to me, Jeff, and Jason discuss the PlayStation platform at Nerds Gone Platinum. Podcast goes up every Thursday morning at 7, and I believe the Trophy Challenge goes up Mondays or Tuesdays. Not 100% sure on that. I barely even know because Jason puts it up. So I'm like, he's been hosting like crazy lately, so he knows all the deets.
Yeah,
but you can tweet us at ng_platinum, or you can send us questions, comments, and concerns at nerdsgoneplatinum@gmail.com. If you want to come on the show, shoot us a tweet or send us an email and or message us in the Facebook group. We have a Facebook group, Nerds Gone Platinum, and now we have a YouTube channel, Nerds Gone Platinum. Get out there and like it if you could, so that we can get the custom URL at 100 likes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are close. I think you guys are close already. I finally subscribed. No, I was always subscribed.
Bastard.
So this has been Bears Gone Rogue, episode 112, the return of Antonio Guillen. You could find everything we do on youtube.com/NGR Radio. You can find B-sides every Friday morning at 7 on YouTube. You can find this show every Monday at 7 a.m. And both of those go up on any podcast service you might want to listen to pods. So go to where your pods are, and that's where we be. You can email the show at ngrradio@gmail.com. We are on Twitter at NGR Radio Podcast. And I am Infinite_Rewind. That's a show. Banana and out.
Yeah.
No, you forgot your line, Moose.
You're welcome.
There you go.